Lindo, a very good morning to you. You are stationed outside court ahead of that appearance. What are we expecting to happen? What's the common view out there? Are we expecting that Muhammad Mawela will be given bail?
Well, as you rightfully say, we are outside court. We were here last week Thursday when Muhammad Mawela made his bid to get bail. And what he said in that particular bail application was that he was acting out of self-defense, and that is why he stabbed the three boys. In fact, he says that the knife that he used to stab the three boys, one of them who has unfortunately passed on, fell from one of the attackers or one of the victims, as we know it, since he is the suspect. But he says he was trying to defend himself when he stabbed the boys. And today we are expecting that the magistrate will come and share his deliberation, and as well as whether Muhammad Mawela will be out on bail or will remain in custody. Of course, last week we also saw a number of people, particularly the investigating officer and Steve Mabona from the Department of Education, taking the stand and telling the court what exactly will be happening should Muhammad Mawela be let out. But as to whether he will be out or not, the judge was not very clear, and that is why he said that this is a matter that he needs to take very seriously and needs to put into consideration, and that is why it took so many days before he could deliberate. But he said that today, for sure, he will give us his judgment on whether Muhammad Mawela should be out on bail or not.
And I suppose that is a consideration, considering that there have been murmurings of that this is gangsterism, that these are rival gangs. One has to wonder then about the safety of Muhammad Mawela if he were to be let out on bail, Lindo. And what are we hearing from the other side of things about this as to, you know, what is happening in the school, what is happening in the community since his arrest and appearance in court?
Well, what in fact we heard from Muhammad Mawela's affidavit, his bid to get bail, was that the suspect, or rather the victims that he stabbed, he claimed that they were from a gang called STK, Stoterkenders, meaning naughty kids in Afrikaans, and he said that they attacked him while he was coming from school. But what we are also hearing, in fact, from the Department of Education is that so when such an incident happens, obviously the school suspends the learner, and a fair hearing between the parents as well as the learner takes place then. And they're saying that, of course, if he is let out, they will make arrangements for him to continue writing his exams, to continue with his schooling activities. But one thing they're saying is that they will not be placing him, in fact, on back to the school. Also, Muhammad Mawela also mentioned an address. Of course, that address wasn't read out at the court, but he says that he will not be going back to that particular community because there might be a bit of tensions, particularly after the death of one of the pupils. So they're saying that they're trying to make arrangement as to how he will be, or what are the conditions for the bail, for his bail. But one of the things also that in fact came out from the court was that they are considering very much the fact that he's still a scholar, and that they want to continue with this. But of course, the parents of the deceased were saying outside court that they're not really happy about the fact that the state didn't oppose this particular bail application, and they're also saying that they do not want him back into their community. They do not want him back in that school, and they're saying if they give him another school, then he will be a threat to other kids. So what they want as the family of the deceased is that he remains in jail. But of course, that is a matter now left to the magistrate to deliberate on it.
And from what we've seen, and we know that he was in court late last week, Lindo, I mean, just looking at him and just, you know, seeing him in court, what kind of a youngster does he seem like?
Well, it's very quite difficult to describe that, because most of the time he's actually, sitting down and stands up. But in fact, what I can tell is that I can tell you a little bit about himself, because he took the stand too, trying to rectify a mistake that was made on the affidavit. Instead of writing that the incident took place on May, in fact, the affidavit said it took place on June, so that he had to go to the stand and rectify that mistake. That was the only way we understand from the magistrate to rectify that particular mistake. But seems I wouldn't necessarily know how to describe him, but I can tell you he was able to talk. He wasn't trembling. He was speaking straight, talking to the magistrate and telling the magistrate whatever the questions came to him, he answered them with confidence and showing that in fact he understands everything that is happening. So not much about his personality, but about the way he's been, his conduct. You know, he wasn't shaking or trembling, but rather just stern, and maybe he shows the confidence of the fact that he was maybe protecting himself or not. But of course, we leave that to the police to also investigate.
All right, well, we'll see whether he does get bail today. Thank you very much, Linda Kushlet-Kulu.